It's time for Socktober. Let the chaos commence. A quick recap. If you do not already know what we're doing this October we shall be knitting as many socks as we can, following the principle of utter chaos. For that principle, we shall be helped by my trusty D20, who will determine which of these 20 yarns will get a place in my sock and how many rows that will be. This is a collaboration, so in the playlist Roll for Socktober you will also find my friends who are doing a similar approach to Socktober, however, all a little bit of a different flavor. So let's get into it. It is October 1st, 7:30 in the morning. I could not sleep, I could not wait. I am so excited. I'm also a little bit stuffy, if you could hear that. Let's roll. Let's just get right into it. Ha! That's a natural 20. I don't know if you can see this. Really, my dice is really pretty, but maybe not the best for filming. Maybe I should buy an extra set of clicky-clacky math rocks just for filming, and then I can keep this for my Pathfinder games. Anyway, natural 20, so we're starting with this beautiful green. Now hoping it is not entirely at the end of the bag. It's not in the bag. Where did I put that yarn? Just a sec. Chaos has already commenced, as you see. Found it! Now for a second roll, how many rows? 13. That's a nice number to start with. I'm currently knitting a very basic sock pattern, just one of the free ones that you can find on Garn Studio or Ravelry, wherever. I will link it, however, in the description, because there is always people that ask for patterns in the comments. So if you were, for some reason, in search of a very basic sock pattern, you will find it down in the description box. Now, for those of you who are screaming at me, Jente, why aren't you knitting 2 socks at the same time? You will never be able to replicate this first sock perfectly. I'm saying yes, exactly. If you didn't know, that was my plan. I am making purposefully unmatched matching socks. Every sock will be different, but since they are all made out of the same 20 yarns, they will look the same. And this is why I can continue after 2 socks, and if I have 3 at the end of October, perfect. If I have 5, even better. And I can just mix and match all those socks together. They will be the same basic pattern, but they will be completely different in colors. But since the colors are the same, they will also look like they match. I mean, that at least is my theory. Could be that I am wrong in the end, and it will be the ugliest amalgamation of socks that you have ever seen, but then that is also a result. However, since we started on a natural 20, I think that's a very auspicious start that tells us these socks will be good. Good! I will differ slightly from the pattern in that it says I only have to do 4 rounds of ribbing, and I really like knitting and the aesthetics of ribbing, so I'm going to go a little bit more ribbing. I think I'm just going to double it and go with 8 rows of ribbing. Just 4 rows of ribbing, that's... You don't even see the ribbing. 4 rows. And there we go. 13 rows of our first color. And now I have to hurry myself down to work. I'll see you probably tomorrow, because after work I'll be going to a concert. I haven't planned my life around Socktober, and maybe that was a mistake. Roll number 2. I promise you, you don't have to watch the tedious process of me rolling every single row of this sock, or these multiple socks. But it's just the beginning, we're just starting out, so now we're still excited, so now we're going to film the entire roll again. 19! Ooh, that's a very good gain. This is 19. Yeah, we're getting into crazy territory already. Now, how many rows of this? 9. Nice. And now that I'm switching colors, I'm also doing a little bit of a simultaneous weaving in action while I knit, so that at the end of October I don't end up with like 2 trillion ends to weave in, because that would completely demotivate me. Look, just need to one more time and then that green is gone. Oh, 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 oh. Eh. I've been calling this first color green. And I know you will all be screaming at me, Jente, that's not green, that's teal, or at least some kind of blue, turquoise. Well, in Flemish, it actually has a funny name. It's only in Flemish, it's not standard Dutch. In Flemish, we call this color appelblauw zeegroen, which you can translate to apple blue sea green, which is of course a nonsensical word because apples aren't blue. It's a word that stems from Flemish pop culture. Like in the 1970s, the comic The Kiekeboes had an issue of the comic in which they imitated the Green Michelin Guide, but since they didn't want to call it the Green Guide because that would be copyright infringement, they said it was the Apple Blue Sea Green Guide. And it stuck. Flemish people all over Flanders know exactly what you mean when you say something is apple blue sea green. Here we go, 9 rows of color 19. I would personally never have put these 2 colors together instinctively, but I think this is actually such a beautiful start of this sock. Oh yeah, that natural 20 in the beginning, that was an auspicious sign. We're going to have a pretty sock. Look at it, I mean, that's such a good combination actually. Let's see if we don't entirely ruin it with color number 3. Color number 3 is the number 3. And that is this yarn, which we shall be knitting for 5 rows. The first handspun has entered the chat. After this 1 row of bright yellow, we will now have to do 15 rows of this, well, bonte schaap. If I remember correctly, then this yarn is older than this channel. This is, I think, the first sock yarn that I spun on Bernadette. Like, Bernadette was my first wheel. And then I got Rachel, like the Wernicking Delft, a very workhorse kind of wheel. And I've forgotten about the joy of spinning on Bernadette until just one evening I randomly started spinning a bit of this bonte schaap, or Dutch spotted sheep, in the grease and just added some colors to it, and I realized, wow, Bernadette is the perfect wheel for like lace and sock yarns. So ever since, she is my thin spinning queen. And I think it's just so fun to have a sock with all these colors, but also with all these stories. Like this yarn, it's probably like 4 years old. A sock with colors and stories. And at first I thought that the dark, almost black gray would start ruining my sock. Like, I am feeling that there will be a point in knitting this sock that ruins the sock. Like, we started off so good and one color is just going to ruin it, but it's not this dark gray. No, actually, because everything else is so bright, it gives a nice balance. Well, but I'm only 5 rows far, so let's see what the other 10 do. These 15 rows do have me doubting a little bit if I had better chosen the D12 for rows. Because I want a lot of colors, not big stripes. I don't know. It's too late now. I'm going to continue with my plan of double rolling the D20. But yeah, could you imagine if I had rolled the natural 20 on the rows for this grey, then like the entire leg of the sock would be grey almost? Well, that's a risk I will have to live with now. And right now I'm just really hoping to get another really bright color just to contrast this again, because it's a lot of gray. It's not bad, still liking the sock, but I would like a bright color again. Let's see if my wishes come true. 15. What is color 15? Yes, yellow. Very good. Oh my god, I just jinxed myself, didn't I? Now I have to do yellow for 19 rows. Help! Said help. I don't think I will have to roll 4 rows next time I roll this color. That was, of course, a secondary goal of this project, to get rid of my scraps. So, well, this has been successful. 19 rows of yellow. I have also now decided that I can re-roll my colors if I have the same color twice in a row, because I really do not want my stripes to get bigger than this. Yeah, this is about the maximum amount that I want in my, yeah, you know, technically 1 more row is possible when I roll a natural 20, but not much broader than this. That would be ridiculous. So yeah, but it's not going to happen with this yellow, that's for sure. We're in a handspun streak. This is the 3rd handspun in a row. This one, if you remember, is from my knee-high lace socks that I made, I think, like 2 years ago. It's Sunday, October 5th, and I am about to make the toe of my sock. Yeah, I need to keep up my reputation of being able to knit 2 pairs of socks in 2 weeks, right? Also, just, it's the excitement of wanting to know what comes next that makes me go. I have, however, had to put another rule in place, and that is that one color cannot be in one sock more than 3 times, because color number 6, remember this one, the very old handspun, is also over here and then again over here. I almost have no color number 6 left. And if I want my socks to be kind of matching in the end, then there should be at least one other sock that has some color 6 in it. Because otherwise this would just be a color 6 sock and very much color 6, and no other socks would have that color in it. I'm also a little bit surprised that even though I have at least 2 purple yarns and 3 green yarns, yeah, the only purple I have is this little bit over here. Like, this doesn't count, this is a variegated yarn. I had not expected the outcome of my socks to look like this. I thought it would be more green, less gray. But all in all, it still is, I mean, a cool looking sock. I am happy with it. Ta-da! Our first sock from Roll for Socktober is done, October 5th. What can I say about this sock? I like the top part, the leg part, a lot more than the foot part, which is good because the leg part is the one that other people will see as well when I wear them. Yeah, I feel like this foot part is just big blocks. I don't know how else to describe, but it's just, even though these are like 3 different rolls, they blend too much together, so my foot just looks like really big stripes and not entirely what I was going for. I mean, not the feel that I was going for. Like, this also are pretty big stripes, but I don't know, they feel more chaotic and different in sizes, and yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way about it. But this is my first sock, yeah. Now, let me tell you that we did not use color 4, not used color 5, not color 7, not color 9, not color 12. I also don't think 13, 14 was used. 16 wasn't used either. And for 11, we only have 1 row. So there is still so much possibility of getting an entire different sock. If like the next rows are only those colors, then yeah, we're going to get an entirely different sock. Anyway, I'm excited. This is just cast on. And the cast on shall happen with color 8. That is funny, because that's the color I just ended my toe with. But okay, I still have it near me. And we shall be knitting it for 8 rows. Are we going to have a repeat of the number 6 for this sock, but then number 8? Well, I don't know, let's see. 8 rows of number 8. Woohoo! I get to follow up with one of the colors that I did not use in my first sock. Yes, we're finally going for color 5, this beautiful Malabrigo. I really should stop saying like half predictive kind of stuff, because apparently when I do so, it bites me in the butt. Like with the previous sock about how it's always going to be a lot of rows per color and then immediately rolling 19. Do you remember that just a couple of seconds ago I said that number 8 was going to rival number 6? I've got 3 colors and 2 of them are number 8. RNG gods, why are you torturing me? It's pretty. It's a super pretty combination, like 8 and 5, but yeah. Phew. And we rolled another 6, which at least will mean that sock number 2 will fit with sock number 1 because color number 6 is in there. However, I have rolled that I should do 9 rows with color number 6. Pretty sure we're not going to make it, and that after this bit I will have to replace color number 6 with a new color number 6. Apparently I still had a little bit of color 6 in my scraps box. I don't know how it got past me when collecting all of my scraps to make my bag, but yay, we still have color 6! Not that I like this color very much, but since it is so prominent in that first sock, I don't know, I feel like it kind of should be like the red thread throughout all the socks to make them match. I don't know. But we still have more. I'm about to embark on 20 rows, yes, another natural 20, of color 5. So another color repeat within the same leg of this sock. And just looking at it, you know, friends, they couldn't possibly be more different unless if I didn't have color 6 in this one. Ah, that's amazing actually, how different these 2 socks look while they come from the same selection of yarns. Peak chaos is what I say. What I also say is that I am really enjoying this project. I am actually contemplating making this a weekly vlog because I am really enjoying vlogging this experience, just because I like the experience. It's every time a surprise, it's fascinating how these socks turn out. Literally, I have been getting up earlier to work on this. I am so locked in this Socktober thing. Yeah, maybe I will do weekly vlogs of this. It is now Monday. I think I will do Tuesday and then maybe Wednesday as well, and then publish it next week. And maybe you could tell me in the comments whether or not you would like weekly vlogs of this silly sock knitting, because that would mean like 3 more videos of me just doing this and rambling along about socks and yarn and maybe history and stories about the yarn. Is that something you would enjoy? Let me know. Anyway, I am enjoying these socks, and let's go for 20 rows of color number 5. Me filming an entire segment about how I like vlogging this. Also me not filming the entire heel turn. I would love to blame that on the fact that my camera's battery needed charging, but also I feel like it's rather typical. It's very me behavior. Anyway, we now have a second heel turned. I love how colors 20 and 19 just seem to want to be together. It is, of course, a very striking combination, so I'm not going to interfere with this budding romance between 19 and 20. I would, in fact, love to have this combination again in future socks. And the trend of this sock could not be more different. It's also continuing because I feel like my dice is making up for not rolling some colors. I have been having all the unrolled colors in this sock, except for 2. Up until this point, there still is not color 4 and not color 16, but I don't care as much for color 16 as it is just black. So if we don't get color 16 in the end, I shall not be malcontent. However, I would like some color 4. But for the rest, all the colors have been rolled, so the missing color 12, what else was missing? 5 was missing, 7 was missing, but we've all rolled them now. Unless we haven't rolled 14. What is 14? Yeah, 14 is also still missing. I mean, I kind of would have thought that after more than 1.5 sock, I would have rolled all 20 of my colors, but apparently not. I have been rolling many doubles, like I have 2 times color 5, 2 times color 11, and 2 times color 8 in this one. Now, this sock also looks a bit more as I was envisioning things. Like it has the shorter bits of color interspersed with longer, not as much of a blocky sock like this one is. I like this one a lot more, both in colors and just the contrast and difference in length of rows. Not the length of the rows, but like the width of the rows. As you can hear from my voice, it's still very early, so I hope I'm making sense. A next color. Color 13. We just had color 13 like 5 rows ago, and that was the first time I rolled color 13, and here we are again. That seems to be the theme of this sock, just doubling up on colors we have not rolled yet. Alia jacta est, and then suddenly you have 2 socks, 2 finished socks. I was almost going to say, and then you have a pair of socks, but that doesn't really, you know, fit the bill for these two. They are completely different. The only thing that would make them quote unquote a pair is that they both start and end with the opposing same colors. Weird sentence, but here's the thing. My first sock started with color 8 and no. My first sock started with color 20 and ended with color 8, and my second sock started with color 8 and ended with color 20. I think that is just a coincidence that is too good to be a coincidence. It was the dice gods that spoke to me and told me, yeah, well, they do kind of fit together now, and you should thank us. Thank you, dice gods, RNG gods. Very good behavior for making these two socks. I'll have you take a proper gander, a proper look at these socks. Yep, that is just complete chaos, and I love them. I love them so much. Complete chaos, but not our entire series of 20 colors completed. No. Color 4 and color 13 have still not been rolled. No, it's color 16. Color 4, 13 and 16 have not been rolled. We still have 3 unused colors. That's something I did not expect after 2 socks. There is a lot of color repeats in the second one. Anyway, 'tis Wednesday, my dudes, which is the day that you see last week's video, but also the day that I shall edit this video. The continuation of this adventure is then for next week as well, or well, the week after next week. Time is confusing and relative, but we will be continuing this adventure because, as I've said before, I kind of liked vlogging this adventure, and I want to continue doing so on a weekly basis. So next week, more of this! I hope you are excited. Anyway, if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, don't forget, this is a collaboration, and in this playlist you will also find videos of my friends who have been doing sock chaos. Bye!